Hello everyone, welcome to the course Research Method and Analysis. My name is Salman Bahu. If you are a master student in the field of economics, management and business and you are going to plan or write your research thesis and article, or you are a new PhD entrant in any program, this course is very useful for you. In this video, we are going to discuss how to extract key details or do coding for the data from articles. Remember that before starting and conducting any research project, literature review is one of the important steps for finding out the new ideas, conducting and writing your research article or thesis. And extracting the details from the articles is one of an important step. Or in other words, you can say a coding of the data from the articles to know what has been done previously in the literature. This is the video 2 of the course. First, I recommend you before coming to this video, those who have not seen the first video, please listen to the video titled How to Read a Research Article. Because reading a research article is one of the important technique, and in the previous video we divided this technique into 5 important steps. If you will see the video, in that video I have explained you with the help of some exemplary articles that how you can minimize your time, how you can extract the details from that, where your relevant information is available in the article. And as a researcher, as a new entrant, as a new researcher, young researcher, that will be helpful to minimize your time and get maximum output by reading smartly and properly. So today I'm going to tell you how to extract data from the articles on Excel file, or in a simple way you can say how to do the coding of the data in an Excel file, which is an important part for literature review. Here I will take the example of the 2 articles. One is Corruption Distance and FDI Flows into Latin America, and the second article is Corruption International Business, a Review and Research Data. So we start with the first article, Corruption Distance and FDI Flow into Latin America. So here I have prepared this Excel file. If you go to my Facebook page, you can also download from the Facebook group this Excel file which is available for you. And I have created the different codes which are useful when you are doing a literature review, whether you are writing a literature review article or whether you just summarizing your literature so you can create new ideas for empirical work. So here practically I want to give you examples practically instead of giving a theoretical lecture. We will see how to do these codings and how to extract data, where this data is available. I will repeat some information from my previous video. So let's start with that. So I go to this is the article which we are going to take as an example today, like Corruption Distance and Foreign Direct Investment. So I copy its title and I go to my article title name. Here you can give the serial number, and same serial number you can use for the PDF file to keep your record update. So if you see, this article is published in International Business Review, and the year of publication is 2015. Okay, we have year of publication is 2015. Now we want to summarize what is the main objective and purpose of this article. So if you see my previous video, you can find out I have explained number of places where the author list the objective. So in this article, if we go here, this is the research objective. Number 1, they present in the abstract. Number 2, they also present the objective of their study in introduction section and also in the concluding section. So what is the objective of this paper? To check the effect of corruption distance on FDI inflows. So here what I will do, I will write how I can convert it into corruption distance impacts the inward FDI in Latin America. So from where I got this information, it's clearly mentioned this paper replicates earlier studies within OLI paradigm by seeking to advance our understanding of this relationship by reducing the concept of corruption distance between pair of countries and applying this. Same information I can go here, because this is the same article which we have used in the previous video as an example, with the new concept how do positive and negative corruption distance have a different effect on inward FDI. So in a way, if you want to write the more collaboration, you can also write here. Okay, and if you see research stream, remember that what is the research stream? Research stream means the research directions, research branches, how the literature are going on. So I want to give it a short title to this stream of research, that this stream is about corruption and FDI. So it's mean that this paper is examining the relationship between corruption and FDI, and this is one of the stream in the literature. And then I have to come up whether this is a theoretical paper or whether it's an empirical paper. So from this paper, I have to see that, as we have discussed, this is an empirical paper. They collected some data, they have some hypotheses, and they have some methods, variables. So clearly you can see from the article, if you utilize the technique 5-step process of reading the article, you can come up with this detail. So I write here, this is a quantitative article. Okay, so next we have to find out the theory. So if you read see the step from where we can find out the theory, and you have to go follow the third step of reading technique video, and here is the mention the theories. Theoretical background always give you the theories. So they talk about the transaction cost theory and OLI paradigm, Dunning-OLI paradigm. So what I have to do here, I will if you want you can copy paste. I will copy from here and I go here and I write number 1 this theory and comma, and what is the second theory? Second theory is the yes, I copy from here, Dunning-OLI paradigm. They are using these concepts as a theoretical background. So see, now I have theories of the article applied. Okay, sometimes some author discuss applied theoretical background, but here they clearly mention we have applied this theory, so we can write not applicable. Then what is the dependent variable, independent variable? So if you go into the article, you have to go to the method section. After looking that video, you can clearly see what is from where you can find these things. So first of all, before moving to that, I also want to add a column here which is hypothesis, because after doing the theoretical discussion and literature review, the hypotheses are very important. So you can also, if you want, for like a very good database, you can copy the hypothesis and you can keep them here with you. Okay, it will help you to see a relevant information, how many hypotheses this study has established. But it depends, if it will be useful for you, you should do, otherwise you no need to do this. It's depend whether it's useful or not. So I think if you want you can list it, if you want you can you no need to list this. If we talk about the dependent variable, remember if you see my first video, the method part I always explain you about dependent variable, independent variable and control variables. So if I go here, yes, these are the variables and measurement and yeah, they also presented a table. Natural log of FDI inflow is my dependent variable here, so I click and I paste here. What are the dependent variables? These are the corruption distance and human index development are the independent variable. So you can write corruption distance and human development index. Okay, some people also want to list down the control variables, okay, just to make their database very strong. So but depends again your need. If you need to you want to also catch this information in the paper, it will help you. So what is the advantage of creating this coding is that you no need to every time go and read the complete article, because obviously for your research project you are reading like more than 100 articles, 70, 80, you forget the information when you read. So this coding help you to remember that information. So if you want, you can add the control variables, but this is not so important. Depends on key data sources. This is an important thing related to dependent and independent variable, and also for control variables. So depend where is what are the data sources? Let's suppose we are talking about corruption. What is the data source for corruption, and what is data source for FDI? So you go again back into the article. This is providing, okay, this is a data source for FDI, okay, and this is the data source for corruption, okay. I copy here and I put here the bracket. You can put that this is for corruption and this is for FDI. So same, if you want and you feel it relevant, you can also list down for your control levels. But from my point of view, I'm not in need of that, and I think it's not too much important. Then period of study, when this study is conducted, this is an important thing. So we have to see when they conducted this study. They conducted this study between 2006 to 2009. So you can easily mention here from 2006 to 2009. So if you see the sample details, is there any regional study, nature? So countries, yes. Which country? Latin American countries. Okay. Industries, there is no discussion about industry, so not applicable. So but you have to see in the method section when they talk about the companies, if they are talking about some specific industry. If they're not talking about some specific industries, then you can say, okay, there is no specific industry. They are talking about some type of companies, SMEs, manufacturing, no specific, so you can say not applicable. Means they are not talking about any type of special companies like SMEs or this. They're just simply saying all the Latin American companies which are the part of their sample. Now what method they applied? So in my point of view, if you go to the discussion section, you can see here, yes, they are applying the regression analysis and correlation analysis. You can also see these things from the tables, Pearson correlation matrix, and they applied the result from random effect regression. So what we can do here, I go at this page and I write number 1 correlation matrix and number 2 random effect regression analysis. So these are the two methods which is used by the authors. And what are the key conclusions? So for the key conclusions, if you see my previous video, we have discussed in a very detailed way where very short conclusions are presented. So in a simple way, they explain that after controlling for the transaction cost and institutional variables, results shows that corruption distance has a symmetric impact on FDI. Okay, and then host country corruption has positive corruption distance compared to the corruption level of the home countries, experience no significant increase or reduction in level of impact. However, negative effect of the corruption suffered by the host countries associated with that. So this is the key finding, how the positive and negative corruption distance impact here. You can you can copy the same data, or if you want you can write in your own words, depend if you want to write the key findings of the paper. Then you see, is they're talking about the future research agenda. So if you see my previous video, we discussed that the future research agenda is always discussed. Most of the writing empirical studies is presented in the conclusion section. So we see here if something is recommended related to, yes. So if you see in the conclusion, secondly, we have provided the empirical evidence to complement studies suggesting that firms based on countries with high level of corruption are not affected by this issue when investing abroad. By doing so, we are aware of able to contribute how corruption affects FDI. Future studies should take into account not only the host country corruption level, but also how well equipped the home country is to cope with the problem. So they are presented in a way a future research direction. So if you think this future research direction is relevant, important, so what you can also rephrase it in your own words, or you can simply copy it. So what I understand, how corruption impacts FDI, but also how the home countries can handle the problem of corruption. So what we did here, after reading the comments from the author, we converted that suggestion into a research question. So you can also do in this way related to the research questions. Okay, so this is the way of creating different type of things related. It depend also the need of your paper, whether you're doing empirical study, maybe you no need to go too depth in the paper. If you're doing a literature review study, you have to do codings, and you can do that. Now let's take an example of another article, which is a literature review article, and its title is yes, its title is Corruption in International Business. Now how you will summarize the same article I mentioned here. Okay, this is the time number 2. Yes, so okay, what I do most of the time, I also create the citation by using some online sources. I can also show you how to do this. Let's suppose we go here and we write here the citation machine is one of the software which is free for creating the citations, because if I use the article, then it's easy for me. I can APS 6 is the style. If you see here, APS 6 is the most useful style right now, mostly journal accepted. So if I click on quick citation, it's automatically extract the data from different sources, and it's a journal article, it's not book, it's not website. So I click on journal and I wait for it's working. It's a free source for creating the citation. I just put the title of my article, which I copied here, and I search. Okay, and I create a site. Continue. It's automatically collected the detail from the article, authors and everything, and create citation. So let's see, it's completed. Yes, it's completed. Copy citation. This is my practice. I feel more comfortable of doing this because now I'm more comfortable whenever I need to cite this article or use this article. I'm more okay. Some people rely on different softwares, but I'm more comfortable, and I know the complete details, how they are, how which people they are. So I'm like more comfortable with this. Then I can write the International Business Review, the same journal. Year of publication is 2020. So I write here 2020. I can write here. Now we go to the same process. What is this? What this paper? What is the objective of this paper? So we say we systematically review the literature on corruption in international business. So we can say that a systematic review of corruption literature in the field of international business. What is the research stream? It's talking about corruption and IB. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's a qualitative study, quantitative, or literature review. So I will write here it's a literature review study. Did they talk about some theories? Because this is a literature review studies, then obviously they would have a discussion about theories, but they are not applying any theory to their framework. Remember that. This is the difference here. When you're putting data, they will not have a dependent and independent variable. Yes, they will have a period when they applied. For example, in this article they mentioned the period of 1992 to 2019. So I gave her 2019, 1992 to 2019. Okay, and countries no, industries no, type no, method yes, they applied bibliometric analysis. Okay, they applied bibliometric analysis, and then obviously what are the key findings? You can also find these key findings here. They presented like some streams. If you want, you can similarly copy it here, and then you have to see yes and future research directions. So for the, because this is a review paper, in review paper mostly we present future research directions. So importantly, yes, they presented a table because this is my own paper, I know, and in this paper we presented more than 20 research questions. Yes, we have presented 14 research questions to extend the literature. So what you can do here, you can say yes, there is a table number, or you can point out here. So this is a way of doing the coding for your papers, and you have to do coding for all of your like 100, 50, 60, 200 papers. This help you to make your database, and this is helpful for literature review papers. This is helpful for empirical papers. You know which question have already analyzed, which data is available. So for example, like after 1 month I come back to my database and I see, okay, what was the paper talking about corruption distance and FTI flow. I don't need to go to that PDF file. I can easily read the detail from this Excel sheet, because and I can know method, dependent variable, data sources. I want to see how they measure. Okay, this database they use, like for example, this database they use to measure about corruption and FTI. So this is one of the way of creating the codings for your paper. Okay, and the codings is always helpful. This summarize your time. One time is a one-time activity. If you properly create a file, and by using the technique of reading articles, and by using this technique of extracting data while reading the articles, it will help you to minimize your time. You know your literature very well, you have your database, then no need to go again and again, and you no need to forget every time. So I hope this video will be helpful for you for extracting data and how to do coding for the papers. So I will be wait